have some exciting changes in the world of COVID. Since the last reporting 2 weeks ago, we have only an increase of 19 student cases and 9 staff cases. As you can see, countywide in the wastewater, which is the best determiner in these days of what the COVID virus is doing, it's at medium. I'd like to point out there are some new changes in COVID test kit distribution. Now that the state of emergency has been lifted by Governor Newsom, and because the rates of COVID are much decreased, instead of giving COVID tests to every student and their family, they are available now at schools or offices for request. The only time that we will be sending them home to everybody is right before spring break in April. And again, we will ask people to test just prior to returning to schools, because we have found at every break that with that practice, we have avoided having people come on campus who are carrying the virus. So we will no longer be distributing test kits on a regular basis. Families and staff members will need to make a request for those. They will be on hand, again, at schools and offices. I would also like to point out that in the city of Milpitas, I asked the county public officer for this data and received it the other day, that in our city, you can see that the percentage of Milpitas residents who received the bivalent booster by age, you can see what their percentages are listed here, and it's around 20 to 28% for our kindergarten through high school age learners. And while that is a little bit on the low side, it's actually higher than it is countywide. So that's just another indicator of how our families and residents in Milpitas really take the concern of health and safety for themselves and each other to heart. And we will be offering another COVID booster clinic in the next month or so. I would like to point out that in the last 2 weeks, we've had some incredibly great community opportunities that demonstrate that MUSD is on the move. You see in the lower left picture our Science Olympiads at Milpitas High School. They also included some of our middle school students. And you see some of our board members and staff members. And on March 11th, the I think it's the Divisional Science Olympiads was supposed to be held at another venue, but at last minute that was canceled, and MUSD graciously stepped up and said, hey, we'll have you guys here. So the Milpitas High School campus was filled with hundreds of students, somewhere close to probably about 500, I would guess, from looking at the size of the group, all in different rooms throughout the campus competing for the Science Olympiads. And the Science Olympiads competition is that the students a week in advance get what their topic is, and then they have to create some sort of science experience, and then they compete with each other. And we were competing against private schools, charter schools, as well as other public schools. And our team qualified to go to the state champions. Then if you look in the upper part of this slide, you can see our principal, Ms. Deanna Satan, and next to her, Ms. Deanna Elzy. And you can see just behind her, you see our president, Ms. Orlando, and you can barely make out our assistant principal, Andrew from Milpitas High School, and I can just barely see the shoulder of Mr. James. But in addition to those that we see here, there were about 25 other Milpitas administrators who were there on a Saturday, spending their time interviewing very many applicants for our openings for teachers. So we do have a team of dedicated administrators who spend their time either in places like Science Olympiad, the STEAM Showcase, which is to the lower right, and recruiting, to just name a few of their weekend events, because we are on the move. And to the bottom right, we have two of our young people who were displaying their STEAM project that they had at the STEAM Showcase this Saturday, and that's Vice Mayor Evelyn Chua, who's there listening to them describe what it is that they did for the STEAM Showcase, which is done in conjunction with the Milpitas Community Education Endowment. And thanks to our teacher leaders who are supporting that, and who come to mind are Ms. Muska, Ms. Lebeck. I know that there are many others whose names I'm not recalling at the moment. And then also our Director of Tech Services, Mr. Chen Song. And together we had 507 students participating in the STEAM Showcase this year. And this concludes my State of the District for this board meeting.